Police arrest a couple on suspicion of defrauding the government in a drinking contract worth $52 million. 6 foreign domestic helpers arrested on suspicion of providing illegal dental services. And Zelensky and European leaders set to meet Donald Trump at the White House. Hello and welcome to TVB News. I'm Melissa Hekalea. Ukraine's future could hinge on a hastily assembled White House meeting scheduled for the early hours of Tuesday, Hong Kong time. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is bringing with him a cast of European leaders to show U.S. President Donald Trump a united front against Russia. European political heavy hitters were left out of Trump's summit with Russian President Vladimir Putin last Friday. They're looking to safeguard Ukraine and the continent from any widening aggression from Moscow. Nazvi Karim with more.
The last time Volodymyr Zelensky met U.S. President Donald Trump at the White House, he was bullied. This time he's bringing his friends. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, French President Emmanuel Macron, among the heavyweights ready to protect Zelensky from a repeat dressing down. The last thing they want to do is start a fight, but the gang, which includes European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, want to show the Americans that they've got Zelensky's back. They were left out of Trump's summit on Friday with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Alaska. Trump emerged from the meeting slightly chastened, giving up on a ceasefire and suggesting Zelensky take a peace deal largely on Putin's terms. Macron said France and other European leaders are trying to prevent that. We will reiterate to the US that there is only one aggressor, and that is Russia, said Macron. And the peace they are proposing involves a capitulation of Ukraine. Putin said he wants all of the industrial province of Donetsk, and he would freeze borders to territory Russia has already taken in Luhansk, Zaporizhia and Kherson. Zelensky has already rejected these terms.
Back locally, police arrested a married couple on suspicion of defrauding the government in a drinking water contract valued at $52.9 million. The water they provided was sourced from a factory in Dongguan instead of the Guangzhou-based company as stated in the contract.
The government terminated the contract of a supplier of bottled water last week after suspicions of irregularities emerged. The water supplier allegedly used a mainland Chinese brand without permission. Authorities launched an investigation into the matter. Police found that the contractor, Xindingxin Trade Company Limited, supplied bottled water to government officers with the water coming from a plant in Jiangmutou, Dongguan, rather than the Guangzhou firm specified in the contract. According to the police, Xindingxin asked for water quality reports from the Guangzhou company, and it's believed the suspects used these documents to meet tender requirements. Police arrested a 61-year-old man and 57-year-old woman at the company's office in North Point and the couple's home in Lei King 1, respectively. Another mainland man is wanted in connection with the case. The trio are accused of conspiracy to defraud the government.
For the male suspect, we believe he is the person who submitted the tender and responsible for signing some of the document. And the other person, the female, is the wife of this male. So she is also a shareholder of this company, and she is also responsible for signing some of the document with relation to the tender application.
Meanwhile, Xindingxin's bottled water has been retrieved at various government premises. In Hong Kong Squash Center, empty water bottles were cordoned off and the water dispenser put out of use. At the Legislative Council complex, the Secretariat has notified councillors that they have switched to another brand of bottled water. As it appears that was a mistake in the procurement process, the Government Logistics Department has been tasked with taking the main responsibility. The Financial Services and Treasury Bureau also set up a task force to review the procurement system. Lawmaker Peter Siu said the government should take double confirm with the manufacturer or the agent of the product, and even paid a visit to the contractor's office in a bid to better understand the business operations of the company. Samantha Lee, TVB News.
The Immigration Department on Sunday arrested 6 foreign domestic helpers on suspicion of providing illegal dental services. Memo Singhai reports.
The 6 suspects are all Filipinos, aged between 34 and 60. The Immigration Department received a report saying someone might have been providing illegal dental services from a tenement unit in Sham Shui Po. After investigating the case, immigration officers on Sunday launched an operation. During the raid, authorities seized multiple items from the unit, including dental equipment for cleaning and braces. The department said the 6 suspects operated their dental business every Sunday. The service charge for each session costs between $150 and $500. 2 suspects claiming to be dentists said they had picked up their skills from the internet. The rest were assistants. Apart from the 6 arrested, the department said 13 Filipino customers were at the scene when they raided the unit. Sources say the 2 dentists have been frequenting Hong Kong for more than a decade and have been running the business for over a year. The Immigration Department said the unit's hygiene was poor and the suspects were dressed in normal outfits, posing a great risk of infection. On YouTube, videos are readily available teaching people how to clean teeth. Some YouTubers say that cleaning teeth at home can be risky, but they would still do it. This is not the first time immigration officers have arrested people for operating an illegal dental business. In 2021, authorities arrested 4 Indonesian domestic helpers. Some domestic helpers say these dental care services often appear on social media.
I have seen in the Facebook when I scrolling my phone, then I have seen a lot, but I haven't got interest.
A domestic helper agent said current medical insurance for the community does not include teeth cleaning services, and some people may opt for illegal options because of the lower charges. Moments 9, TVB News.
The Hong Kong Observatory issued rainstorm warning signals twice this morning, and showers are expected in the following days. At 1 a.m. last night, the red rainstorm warning signal was in effect for about 5 hours. The amber rainstorm warning signal was issued at 10:20 a.m. Under the influence of an active southerly airstream, the weather forecaster predicts there will still be showers and squally thunderstorms over the coast of Guangdong tomorrow. The weather is expected to be brighter over midweek. At 4 p.m., the tropical depression, which affected Hong Kong earlier, was centered about 230 kilometers northwest of Sanya. It is forecast to move north at about 12 kilometers per hour across Bei Buwan. Meanwhile, the tropical depression over the seas east of Taiwan will move north towards the vicinity of the Ryukyu Islands in the next couple of days. Still ahead, Air Canada flight attendants still on strike, defying a government order to return to work. A gang-related shooting in New York City leaves at least 3 dead. And closing arguments in Jimmy Lai's national security trial get underway. Welcome back. Air Canada flight attendants are still on strike, defying a government order to go back to work and take their pay dispute to arbitration. The union, representing thousands of workers, has refused. Planes are still grounded, flights are canceled, and it's unclear when they will resume. David Garrett reports on the standoff.
A family vacation, and now we can't get home.
Just one of the thousands of travellers inconvenienced by flight attendants of Air Canada defying the government, which had told them to go back to work and negotiate with their bosses. The union representing 10,000 cabin crew said no to arbitration, calling the return to work order unconstitutional. The strike continues. We won't fight! We won't fight! These stewards and stewardesses are refusing to take to the skies. Despite bad weather, the picket lines and protests across Canada only grew. They say they're underpaid and overworked. The government is now trying to mediate some short-term truce to clear the air and get planes taking off again. At least 700 flights have been grounded. The knock-on effect is having an impact across the globe. The airline says it hopes to resume flights later Monday, but stranded customers were left in the dark, as many due on the same flight said they were given differing details. Some were turned away from the airport desks and told to check online.
Well, we've been trying to get through on the phone to Air Canada to try and rebook our flights, been looking online, there's nothing available, we can't get through on the phone. And so I just decided to come down here to the airport to see if I could talk to an agent and get something booked.
We get here early to try and find out what was going on so we can maybe work something out for later on in the day if it is all going to go wrong.
As Air Canada flights showed up in red on the departures board, activity in the departure hall was slow. Most travellers stayed away knowing they had no chance of leaving with the carrier over the weekend. It has been estimated 130,000 have been affected by the industrial action, and that number will grow if the strike is sustained. David Garrett, TVB News.
A gang-related shooting in Brooklyn, New York has left at least 3 dead and another 9 wounded as police search for suspects. No immediate arrests have been made so far. The crime is the second mass shooting in less than a month in the city that has seen a decline in gun violence. Danny Cho reports.
The early morning shooting unfolded after a dispute at the Taste of the City Lounge in NYC's Crown Heights neighborhood, which was packed by patrons at the time. Officers responded to 911 calls of the shooting just before 3:30 a.m. local time and arrived to find a chaotic scene with 9 men and 3 women suffering from gunshot wounds. A 19-year-old young man died on the spot. 2 other men, ages 35 and 27, died after being transported to a hospital. The surviving victims were taken to hospital for injuries that Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch said were not life-threatening for now. At a news briefing, Tisch called the incident a tragic, senseless act of violence. It is believed that up to 4 shooters fired dozens of shots inside the crowded nightclub, hitting numerous bystanders. Investigators collected at least 42 shell casings from 9mm and .45 caliber weapons from inside the lounge. A firearm was also recovered in a nearby street. Tisch said police are examining security footage and questioning witnesses as they try to identify the gunmen. She told reporters the killings appear to be gang-related, but didn't elaborate. It comes as the city has reported the lowest number of shootings on record during the first 7 months of 2025.
Approximately 60% of our shootings in New York City are gang-related. And so we really see gangs driving so much of the violence in New York City. And a lot of our work in bringing the shooting numbers down so far this year has been because of our relentless focus on guns and gangs.
New York City Mayor Eric Adams said crisis management teams have been mobilized to provide trauma services and facilitate mediation efforts with the victims' friends to avoid potential retaliation.
Last night, we lost 3 New Yorkers and 9 more are in the hospital after a horrific act of gun violence at a nightclub in Crown Heights. Today, while, of course, we mourn the victims and pray for their families and their community, we are calling on the public. We need your help. This is the second within weeks, and we don't want this to turn into a normal course of doing business of violence in our city.
Danny Zhou, TVB News.
Foreign Minister Wang Yi will start a 3-day visit to India today. Some scholars believe the Trump administration's tariff war may prompt India to strike a strategic balance between China and the U.S. A representative of the India Association of Hong Kong says Hong Kong can be an intermediary between India and China. Samantha Lee tells us more.
During his 3-day visit, Foreign Minister Wang Yi will attend the 24th round of talks between special representatives of China and India on the boundary issue. Relations between China and India have improved. Both countries agreed to restore direct flights and are in discussion to restart trade at designated locations on their common border. Meanwhile, tensions between the U.S. and India escalated after the Trump administration imposed an additional 25% tariff on Indian goods over India's purchases of Russian oil. A planned visit by U.S. trade negotiators to India later this month has been called off, a source said, delaying talks on a proposed trade agreement. Here in Hong Kong, international relations scholar Chiu Yu-lok said this may give India the feeling that the US may not be an ideal trading partner, and it may be important to mend fences with China to strike a strategic balance. China is India's largest trading partner. In 2023, bilateral trade reached $136 billion. Mohan Jagani, president of the India Association Hong Kong, said India has rich natural resources, including significant deposits of minerals. With China being one of the world's largest manufacturing countries, he believes there could be lots of business opportunities between the two countries. He said Hong Kong can provide middleman services between China and India, which can attract more Indian companies to set up shop in the city. Samantha Lee, TVB News.
The closing arguments for the national security trial of former media tycoon Jimmy Lai started today. The session was scheduled for last week, but was delayed because of the adverse weather and Lai's health issues. The landmark national security trial resumed at West Kowloon Law Courts this morning. Lai was provided with medication and a heart monitor. The prosecutor confirmed that Lai had been given the items and was fit to appear in court. The prosecution's closing argument will continue tomorrow. The annual Food Expo concluded today. On the final afternoon of the fair, discounts could be found across the venue. Many people arrived at the fair in the afternoon to get hold of discounted products. Some exhibitors said the fair has helped them expand the scope of their customers.
The nice thing about this show is it gives a lot of people that don't necessarily buy our product to try it. So we've had a lot of new customers come and the feedback's been great.
That's the news. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.